Good afternoon on the 27th of March 23. No need to tell me that it's a glorious day. I'm sure it is for everyone. Well, in these parts of Scotland at least. Mind you, it's depending what you're doing. It's certainly not been a day for a 400-piece jigsaw puzzle on the coffee table in the lounge. That would have been quite a wasted day in many respects. But I feel it was a wee bit wasted for me because I had a dental appointment, so therefore I couldn't do anything with this particular day, which frustrated me slightly. It was just, well, the dentist wanted me to say, and I said, well, next time you want that to happen, can you just phone me instead? You know, I might be up at 3,500 feet or something. Phone me on the mobile and just ask me to say, But I had a little inspection inside my mouth. I think that's what dentists do, isn't it? That's the profession. Having a look at people's tonsils and their gums and enamels. But anyway, it's a gorgeous day. I came out the Monzie Road just for something to do. I actually went to B&M. It's the first time for, well, quite a number of days actually now. A long time. And it was worth going in because they dropped the prices on two of the items that... One of the items that I would normally buy, the other one remained static, which was a bit of a shock. When you walk into B&M and you find that the price is exactly the same as it was the last time you were in, it certainly raises your mood, doesn't it? Well, it's not an awful lot to report today. I was doing some hill walking yesterday, as you may have seen from my vlog. So apologies if there's any distortion on the microphone. I can't help that. It's you've just got to bear with it and accept that that's a drawback from being out in the elements at elevation. I had often considered moving to Ecuador, and I'm feeling that with the announcement today in Scotland that I may well decide to do that quicker than planned. I had thought of going to Peru when the other lunatic was in power in Holyrood. But now there's another lunatic coming. I think Ecuador seems like an ideal choice, doesn't it? But what I might do is I might just hang around and see just how long it takes for the country to go into some sort of civil war or political civil war. I mean, we're not like the French. I mean, you've got to really hand it to the French people, the French citizens, not the French presidents. I mean, they've got a history going all the way back to the Napoleonic Wars of being rather two-faced about matters. But certainly, the French people, they don't take any shite, do they? I think the most recent unrest has been about the pension reforms. And this has been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. This is sunshine. This is not something wrong with my camera. There's sunshine blazing through from the western sky. But the French people, they just, the citizens of France, they just say, well, no, we won't accept this. And they don't get round the table about it. They just take direct action. So I often wonder what would happen in France if the citizens of France were then told by their presidential people that they were going to introduce something as barbaric as council tax. Could you really imagine the French people accepting council tax, i.e. a proportion of their disposable income was going to be taken at source for local government to maintain services by cutting the same services. No, I don't think they would put up with it. I also don't think they would put up with the excise duty on tobacco and alcohol and fuel and value added tax, VAT, to so many of the products that we buy on a daily basis, essential products that is. I often make the comment that if you go in and buy a cold pie from the bakers, I mean, this is the truth. I haven't had a pie for a long time, but because quite simply the price puts you off. It's just ridiculous. I think the last time I went in and said, "Can I have a pie, please?" And she said that will be, I think it was £1.85. I said, "What, for a pie?" She says, "Yes, do you want it?" I says, "Well, yeah." And she lifted it was a cold pie. She said, do you want it hot or cold?" I said, "I thought you got it hot anyway." She said, "No, it's extra for heating it." I said, "You're joking." She says, and then she says, and if you get it heated, you've also got to pay 17% VAT on it, or 20%, I can't remember the figure now. I think they changed it during lockdown and then they put it back up again. So I thought, so you're going to pay an extra 20% just to get your pie that should be hot? And she said, yes. I said, well, give me a cold pie and give me a loaf of bread, please. She said, want it sliced or unsliced? I says, well, does it cost more to get it sliced? She's trying to be funny. I says, no, I'm just asking if there's any extra charge. She said, no. I said, well, that's all I need, thank you. Oh, do you have a bag? She says, that'll be 20 pence. I says, 20 pence? She says, it costs money for a plastic carrier bag, a one-off carrier bag for taking your shopping out of the shop. I said, well, I thought it was 5 pence. She said, oh, that's going back some time. So I said to myself, well, going to get a hot pie and a loaf of bread and being charged extra to heat things and plastic, that's not something the French would put up with either, actually. So anything that happens in this country is really down to the people for being so thick and placid about everything. I think that most people need to actually wake up to see what's really going on in this country, but of course they don't, because they're so intoxicated half the time, or so anaesthetised with the drugs that they're on, illegal or legal ones. Prozac's legal, isn't it? I mean, Prozac, I think if you went into the supermarket, I think you'd find about 40% of the shoppers are on Prozac. They look like they're on Prozac. It seems to have taken an awful long time to decide on what type of milk to buy, for example. Semi-skimmed or full pasteurised milk. I mean, it's not much of a choice, but it seems to stand there for hours looking at the two different types of milk. I think they think that there's something else on the shelf, which could be a byproduct of taking Prozac or maybe illegal drugs. I think another thing that I find quite disturbing in this day and age is when people buy slippers, they don't even try them on. I mean, it's very strange that you would buy something just on the just on the hope that they will fit. I've seen it quite often. Usually a couple have been together for more than 35 years, and normally the woman will say, there's a pair of slippers, because you'll hear them as you pass them. And maybe you're doing some browsing yourself, and when you return, 45 seconds later or something, you see the gentleman's reached out and selected a pair of the slippers, and then just have moved on, put it in the shopping basket, and continued to walk around the store. And I have often been tempted to say to them, will they fit, these slippers? What are the slippers for, actually? And I don't wear slippers. I think if some like Jehovah's Witnesses came to the door and you were feeling a bit lonely, and you decided to bring them in, welcome them in. So, hello, I've not seen anybody for 3 years. Pop in, and if they looked down and saw you wearing slippers, they'd say, no, it's okay, we're just going to give you this leaflet. But most people wore slippers. Certainly, nobody wore the same shoes that they were out and about with inside the house. Yeah, slippers. I've not worn slippers personally for a long time, but I have these pair of shoes. I must show you them sometime, which I do wear on my feet. I bought them in a second-hand sale in Glasgow about, it must be well over 20 years ago. Actually, it was about 18 or 19 years ago when I think about it. And these shoes were probably the best shoes I've ever worn in my life. I could wear them anywhere in the garden, for gardening work. I could wear them in the mountains, and I could, do my chores in the house with wearing these shoes, and they never seem to wear out. The soles are absolutely perfect. But if I show you these, I might add it to this vlog actually. But yes, they have seen better days. In fact, big chunks of the innards have come out sporadically, and there's nothing much keeping the soles of the shoes to the soles of my feet, apart from some sort of magnetic gravity, I think it is. Such a thing. I was just talking about slippers there, and I was saying that as a rule I don't actually wear these slippers like the checks and stuff on them. I did as a child. I loved slippers. I thought they were great things. In fact, everyone wore slippers, and the older you were, you got what do you call it, like a fur band around the top, and that was if you couldn't tell by looking at a lady how old she was, you just looked at her slippers, and that generally gave you an indication how old she was with this white band on the slippers. But these are mine. They're great soles on these shoes. I don't know who makes them, because, well, does it say, Andy? No, that's Metzel or something, but fantastic soles in these feet, in these shoes, but they do have some gaps. the laces and stuff. They're kind of suede. What's this say here, Andy? Sorry to muck you about. Can't see Andy Penny. I can't make it out. But yeah, so there's holes in, on both sides. And the heel is, I mean, I think to myself, why throw them out? They're still perfectly okay for wearing. I do have some cobbler I do have some cobbler glue that I bought a year ago, but I was so busy doing other things last spring that I never got round to it, so I might just do that. You can see how the soles are quite separate here. And, well, how many layers on that? That must be about 5 layers altogether. The other one's it's not such good condition as that one, unfortunately. Yes. There's a bit of a gap appeared on this particular shoe. Not sure how well you can see that, but it's certainly quite extensive gap on this particular shoe that I like to trudge around the house in. And I wouldn't normally put my footwear up there, but I still think it's in reasonable condition. And like the aristocracy, they would wear their outdoor shoes like this if they could get away with it. So I just thought to myself, well, that's exactly what I'll do with my slippers. And it's, they're very, very good shoes. I love them. Very comfortable. They fit my feet perfectly. And I couldn't be without them, to be honest. So I'll probably attend to them and get some glue onto them, but the soles are still very intact. I thought you'd be interested in seeing that. Very, very, very good shoe. I was thinking about careers. I remember my careers master said to me, what did you want to do with your life, Andrew? And I said, I don't know, I've not a clue. I'm only 15 years of age, I haven't a clue what I'm going to do, I don't even know what I'm having for my tea. And he says, well, there's a careers convention happening. I'd like you to attend. Is there any point? And he says, well, there is a point, because I want you to work and pay your taxes for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. I says, okay. So anyway, this chap had come to the careers place and, career service. He came from the career service, and he obviously introduced himself to the people, and he said to me, any thoughts on what you'd like to do? And I remember saying I'd like to be an astrophysicist. And he says, well, that sounds good. He didn't realise I was being, taking the piss. He said, what are you studying for that at the moment? I said, well, I'm doing chemistry. He says, I think you need to slant it slightly. Are you doing any mathematics or physics? I says, no. He says, I think you should need to rethink your... Have you ever tried any work in forestry? I said, I don't want to work in forestry. I want to be an astrophysicist. He said, there's always jobs in the forestry. I said, no. I remember that day very, very clearly for some reason. But it makes me think about these people who, either certain on their careers or possibly uncertain. And they were perhaps given a to Z of careers that they could choose. And many of them just got to the very first one and said, abattoir worker, that'll do, because they couldn't be fucking bothered looking through the rest of the book. or an accountant, or aeronautics engineer, something like that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything earlier than an abattoir worker. Acrobat? No, it's not a career, is it? I think accountant would be probably top of the list. No, abattoir worker would be, yes, you're right, Andrew. It's very scenic here today, isn't it? So if you sit a while, just looking at the trees, just minding their own business while you mind your own business, you often see the little chats that they have together starting to develop. Yes, the trees actually, they all look after each other. That's why you find trees are always I can't speak. That's why you'll always find trees in close proximity to one another. They shelter each other and they befriend each other, you understand? Whereas if you get a solitary tree, it's stuck somewhere on its own. It always looks very, very lonely. If you see a very lonely rowan tree on the mountain slopes or something, it's generally an indication that the fairies are there. If you see a lonely birch tree somewhere, it's usually quite a sad tree. It's completely on its own. But, there's very few natural forests left in this country, you know. Did I tell you this before? I may have. But any ancient forest only equates to less than 2% of the population of trees that we have in the United Kingdom, which is nothing, is it? There's ancient woodland up the back there at the top of the Kelty. It's of oak trees, but even the oak trees of that part of Car Passing, even the oak trees up there are not significantly old. I mean, they're probably only about 200 years to 300 years old. So you find it very difficult to find any trees of 500 years or more still standing in this area, because they cut them all down, you see. Let's pop along the road for a little while, Andrew.